Hello, boys and girls, rabbits and squirrels. It's Sunday, January the 6th, 2019. I almost said 2018. Take me a while to get used to that. By the time I get used to saying 2019, it'll be 2020. But I've got an idea. It's Sunday, and I'd kind of like to have some ribs for supper. So come along, let's smoke some ribs. Okay, so for this demonstration, we're going to use St. Louis cut ribs. Usually I get just regular spare ribs, and I make them St. Louis cut myself after they've been smoked, after they're done. The difference between St. Louis cut and regular spare ribs is obviously the trim. They've cut a lot of bone off. They've removed a lot of meat too. But the reason I use normally regular spare ribs is because that meat is good, and you can cut these little bites out of it. You have to be careful because there's little bitty bones in it. There's fat on this thing, and I'm going to be trimming that off. There's also a membrane here that I'm going to be removing so that the smoke and the flavor can get up through the meat. I don't trim fat. I trim some fat off a brisket, but not much, because there's so much flavor in it. I saw a video the other day of a guy preparing a brisket, and he cut all the fat off. He completely trimmed it down, and that was just a travesty to me. I can't believe anybody would do that, especially this guy giving instructions on how to smoke a brisket. I thought, okay, dude, I guess that's one way to do it. Like I've said over and over, there's no perfect way. Or there is. The perfect way is what you like. If it turns out the way you like it as far as flavor and tenderness. This membrane's not easy to remove, but it's necessary. You've got to remove it. I've seen guys on cooking shows on TV leave it on there. They say that it contains the moisture. I disagree 100%. Now I'm going to cook this thing at 250. I go low and slow. It's going to take about 5 hours. I'm going to put this side down. Now when I season it, okay, everybody knows to season this side, right? This is where your meat is. Over here you got mainly bone. The thing is, when you pick up a rib, your tongue's going to hit this side. That's the first thing you're going to taste, is this side of the rib, because of the natural curve. Everybody eats it the same way. I mean, you do it otherwise, I guess. It's kind of like eating a taco the wrong way. It's just, most people don't do it. So you want to make sure whatever seasoning you put on the other side, you make sure you put it on this side, because this side is just as important, even though there's not as much meat. So I'm going to trim this thing down, get it ready, get it seasoned, get my fire going, and we'll take the next step here in a couple hours. Like I said, it's going to be 250. It's going to take me about 5-6 hours to get this done the way I want it. Yeah, that membrane's coming off now. Yeah, you got to show it who's boss. Ha! All right, so let's get this thing seasoned and get it on. Okay, when you're smoking ribs, there's some important factors that you have to consider. It's not beef. For one thing, it's pork. So pork lends itself more to a sweetness. So I have found that the wood you use matters. You don't want to use a strong, like a big old chunk of hickory or something. You can over smoke ribs real easily. As a matter of fact, if I don't have something like apple, or I've used peach before. A friend of mine had a peach grove that he actually cut down, or actually a row of trees, and I used that wood. That worked out real well. You can also take a pan, a bowl, big metal bowl, put apple juice in it, and let it steam your meat. That's pretty good too, because it adds a little bit of a sweetness and a moisture to it. When you're seasoning, you want not just hot, you want some sweet too. You want sweet and savory. So what I do, I use a dry rub, but I've got this stuff right here. This is very hard to find. Okay, I've got quite a bit of it, because I know the guy that made it. His name is Ben Rushing in Louisiana, retired professor, LSU, I think, math professor. But anyway, he made this stuff, and I tried it once. He sent some to me. I tried it on my ribs. It was great. It worked. It was perfect. I didn't have to do anything else. I didn't have to add anything to it. But then, as time went by, I started adding a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper. But if you can find Slap Your Mama, that's the closest thing I've found to this seasoning. Like I said, you're going to want some sweet too. So in a little while, you'll see what I'm going to do. I'm going to smoke this rack for a little while. Then I'm going to take it off, and much as I did the brisket, I'm going to wrap it. So that's important. Make sure. I mean, I'm probably just going to use charcoal, honestly, on this one. I've got some hickory, but like I said, I did that one time, and it just ruined the ribs because it was just such a strong smoke. Anyway, thought I'd tell you that. Next step, let's go. Yeah, so I'm driving down the road, and I just heard on the radio. It reminded me of something I saw on the internet the other day. It was this like 6'4" cow. He was towering over the other cows. His name is Knickers. I believe he's down in Australia. Anyway, I saw a picture of this, and you know the first thing I thought? Probably the same thing you thought. Can you imagine the size of the brisket on that thing? Yeah, and you get some beef ribs. They need to carve that sucker up, man. I'm just saying, you thought it too. All right, so we've been smoking for about 3 hours. That's what it looks like now. Guess what I'm about to do? I'm going to add butter, brown sugar, and honey. So we'll give it the sweetness that we want. Right? It'd be fine right now. I'm sure it would taste just fine, but it wouldn't have any sweetness to it at all. And I want to add a little bit of sweetness so that you get, like I said before, you get the savory and the sweet. There's just a little bit of red pepper on here, not much, just enough to give it a little bit of bite. There's that seasoning I showed you before, Dr. Ben's, some salt, some pepper, and now we're going to go with the sweet. Here we go. Okay, so I've already done the bone side, and like I said before, you want to lay the seasoning on. It's like I said in the brisket video. Don't be shy with your seasoning because it's going to cook off. So much of it's just going to cook off, and you don't want to regret later. Hey man, I should have put more seasoning on here. Now you see me put this butter on here. Normally I get the butter in a bottle, so I can just squeeze it out on here. But I didn't get any. I thought I had some, but it doesn't matter. This works perfectly well. This is what I did back in the old days. So all right. Got a little butter on there. Gonna add some honey. And you can use syrup if you want. I've found syrup works, just not as well. Alright, so we got our honey. Let's go with some brown sugar. It's not gonna hurt if you put too much on there, if you put a lot of your savory seasoning on, which I did. So we're going to get plenty of sweet, plenty of savory. You want people to take one bite and go, damn. And you can do that. Nothing to be afraid of. We're going to pat it down. Now, once I get done here, I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to put it back on the smoker. It's been on for about 3 hours. I'm going to put it on for another couple of hours. It's almost done. And like I said, if I just wanted a savory flavor, I would have just left it alone. But I want both. And you can do that. If you don't care about the sweetness, and a lot of people don't. I've eaten at many a barbecue restaurant that their ribs had no sweetness to them at all. And they were good, but it's not the way I like it. Anyway, let's get it wrapped up. And I can't wait to try these ribs. So it's wrapped and in. By the way, did I mention that you should subscribe to this channel? Yeah. You should comment. You can hit like. Maybe you disagree with the way I'm doing these ribs. Maybe I'm doing it all wrong. Tell me if you've got some suggestions, or tell me how you do it, how you like to do ribs. But come on, subscribe, hit like, not the Facebook page like, because you may see this on Facebook. Go to my Uncle Don's Barbecue Facebook page. Check it out. It's kind of interesting. I put some funny stuff on there sometimes. Anyway, let's sit down, drink a beer, wait for these ribs, get ready. So, I thought I'd share some wisdom with you while we're waiting for these ribs to get done. For instance, did you know a dog cannot operate an MRI, but cats can? Lost my mood ring the other day. I'm not sure how I feel about it. More? Okay, let's see what else I got. I think we should ban pre-shredded cheese and make America great again. Not so much? Let's see. You know, despite the high cost of living, it still remains popular. Don't look at me like that. How about a cow stumbles into a field of pot and the stakes have never been higher. Tough crowd. Don't you think that crushing pop cans or Coke cans, whatever you want to call them, it can be so depressing? Irony. That's the opposite of wrinkly. Had enough, huh? Okay. I didn't hear any one of you laugh once. On with the ribs. Okay. It's unwrapped. It's sliced. Turned out tender. It's got a good flavor. Got a little bit more sweet than I wanted, but all in all, turned out pretty good. But we're going to have a friend of mine, Steve Mitchell, that went with me on the barbecue crawl down in Taylor and Elgin and Lockhart, come over here in a little while and tell me what he thinks of these ribs. So, here we go. Aha, and here we have the great, the illustrious Steve Mitchell. All right, Steve, so you've been with me to Miller's. We've been to Southside Market. We've been to Luling. Went to all these places. Black's. All right. So we've had pork ribs all over the place. Me and you've had them at I don't know how many different restaurants.
Right.
So try mine. Tell me what you think.
Okay. Well,
He approaches the rib.
first of all, it looks pretty good.
He addresses the rib.
You have to firmly hold it in both hands. And you can start at either end, but I'm left to right guy.
Yeah. Kind of like corn cob.
Pretty good, Cameron.
Is that all right?
Dang gum. It's tender. Flavors are there.
Now I grabbed one. First one I ate
Man.
seemed like it had more sweet than savory. What do you think?
Well, I'm picking up a little bit of sweet. Which, you know,
See, they're different slices, I guess,
I'm telling
or
you.
different palettes.
Must be. But there's nothing wrong with this. Now this goes back to what we did in your last batch. Of course, this isn't warm, it's cold, but it's good cold.
Yeah.
So
Well, I had to wait on somebody, but you know it's okay.
Well, you know, some people have a tougher schedule.
Yeah. I know. Some people actually have a life.
Boy, this is right up there at the top, dude. It's really good.
All right, so we get the approval from Steve Mitchell.
Thumbs up. These are great ribs. Great ribs.
Uncle Don's Barbecue gets the thumbs up.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Steve.
You all great day. I'm gonna go back and polish some of these off.
Do what you do best.
Oh. Here we go.
Well, that's it. The ribs are done. They've been eaten. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click like on YouTube. Subscribe. Come along with us. There's a lot more things in the future coming up this spring. And let's go have some fun. Again, like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what I did wrong. Until next time.